Hey everybody, welcome to the pregame hangout. These are the Dungeon Scrawlers. I am Eric
Woo!
B, and there is a new person among us. This is Chris Oliveira, who is running our guest game today as our guest DM.
He's already got the evil DM fingers going too.
Oh, he
Like,
was born with his fingers like that. Hi, Chris. How's it going?
You are absolutely correct, Eric. I was, in fact, born with my fingers precisely like this.
Chris and I are old friends. For those of you who have been to the Gen Con Candlekeep seminar, he's the dude who often dresses like Littlefinger and always has something insightful and a little bit, debatable to say. Like he's there with some good insights. So now we're giving him our stream, which is brave and foolish, but it's going to be great. So, and we have Allie, who is also guesting again.
hello.
She's been kind of a regular on the last few episodes, which is pretty cool. It's good to see you. I like your hair today. It's looking
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And we have Randy, who has ridden back from the sunset to join us again. His new character is upcoming in a forthcoming game. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And we have the ever talented Rhiannon.
I got a story. I should put the link in the chat for you early folks. You get first pick of the unlimited free copies. But I have a Artemisia time story. It's got lots of timeliney goodness and characters and family and battles and time magic and all kinds of stuff. So it's free. It's the link I just put in the chat.
Amazing.
Aww.
Yeah. I happen to have read this story and it is pretty great. If you've been watching the stream and kind of following along and have some questions about the timey-wiminess of it, I think this story helps a lot and gives some really good perspective. So highly recommended you go and reserve your free copy right now.
And all my stories are free, in fact.
That's right. We have a whole section on the Discord about this, where you the Dark Dance Library, where you could just go and find stories that we've written because, well, we're all writers, and that's just kind of our thing. We're bubbling with creative ideas, seeking to escape the existential dread of the world with our imaginations, and it works mostly.
Mostly.
So in the pre-game hangout, Chris, we mostly just kind of hang around and chat, and if we run out of immediate ideas, then I am on the spot to come up with something for us to talk about.
That's entirely fair, Eric.
So we've run out of things to talk about, so I'm now on the spot to come up with something for us to talk about.
Well, I mean, there's a kitty on screen. Kitties are always worth.
Oh, Kitty.
Purry too.
Oh, good timing, Kitty.
Black kitties are best kitties.
This is Cynthia. We call her Princess because she is a diva, aren't you?
Excellent. Yeah. It is winter down there in Australia, right?
Yeah, getting I think we're starting to come out of that. Not 100% on that, but
well, in Seattle, the season has shifted as well. It is now smoke season. It came a little bit late this year. Usually it's toward the beginning of August or the middle of August, but this year it's shifted forward a month basically. And I'm kind of worried that we're going to skip right from smoke season to spider season.
Well, spider season was always sort of like August. It's what, August-ish, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know, but based on climate change, I'm worried that we're going to have smoke spiders falling from the sky over Seattle any day now.
You weren't kidding when you said you were going to be coming up with something there.
Yeah.
That is quite creative. What are the characteristics of a smoke spider, other than a spider made of smoke, obviously?
Well, first of all, they're immune to fire damage,
certainly.
Yeah. Which is real bad because fire is kind of your go-to for dealing with spiders.
Right?
Kill it with fire, only way to be sure. Yeah. What if there's smoke spiders? Oh no.
I would think smoke spiders makes me like imagine like incorporeal, like hazy, smoky spiders.
Yep.
You know, like
Oh, that's exactly what I'm picturing.
yeah.
They use spiders from the para-elemental plane of smoke, clearly.
Yeah, like who knows with climate change? Maybe we're crossing over into the parallel plane of smoke.
Does your kitty hunt spiders? My parents' kitties will pat them
This
to death and then
one-
eat them.
I don't ever see her hunt anything, but that's mostly because she lets the other two just kind of do everything because she can't be bothered. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it is more of what my parents have 2 cats, more one than the other, because the big chunky one, longtime fans have seen her briefly on camera. She's the one who's like 16 pounds. You call her and you put your finger near where the spider is, and then she finds the spider, and then she's very like calm and deliberate about it. She just pats it and pats it and pats it, and then she eats it, because that's what you do when you have killed your prey, I guess.
Luring it into a false sense of security.
But she's never like, oh, I'm gonna get it or anything. She's just like, oh yeah, no, I eat this.
Nice.
That's what I do.
I'm a fan of spiders because they get the moths and the fruit flies and other things I don't want in the house. But then I do occasionally just, we have our one kitty, Phryne, who's the real predator. And every once in a while, I'll just capture a spider in a cup and put it in the tub. And it's like, Thunderdome time. Like she hops in the tub and cat versus spider in the tub.
I was going to say, if I added smoke spiders to the game, which I'm not saying I won't, that would be the second most terrifying example of spiders in D&D that I've ever encountered. Would you like to hear about number 1?
I don't know, man.
No, I want to hear number 15.
So
I am kind of curious.
There was this time when my character was swallowed by a purple worm. Now, that's pretty bad in and of itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the DM and I'm like, well, I guess I'm out of the combat if I've been swallowed by this worm. He's like, oh, no, you could still act inside the worm's stomach. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to be cutting my way out of the worm. He's like, oh, no, the gut spiders are coming after you. And I'm like, oh no. Next thing I know, he's drawn a little circle on the map and there's my character. And then here are the spiders. And I'm like, oh shit.
Did you have a handy source of illumination to see the gut spiders in all their glory?
This is one of those moments when I regretted having dark vision.
See, that is a missed opportunity for gigantic tapeworms. I'm just saying.
Gigantic tapeworm inside the purple worm. Yeah,
I mean,
that'd be great. We kill the purple worm and its body's still squirming around. We're like, I'm not sure we killed it. And then this giant tapeworm comes crawling out of it. And we're like, oh God, no. Nice.
I mean, the archaeologist in this conversation is like, did you know back in like the snake oil like period of time, they would sell you a section of tapeworm and then you swallowed it and then great weight loss solution.
Oh God.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have actually heard that. Yes, that is real. That is a real thing. 100%.
I mean, among the various other like patent medicines, because we're
Real
finding
gross.
patent medicine bottles, so you like find out about what was actually in them. I mean, admittedly, like if you're like, well, okay, probably always or almost always alcohol, cocaine sometimes, and then like herbs.
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 Yeah.
It's not radioactive or poisonous. It's not really healing you now, is it?
Right.
And also just like random shit which I mean, admittedly, some of the supplements that they've tested, like in modern times, being unregulated, like the supplements with like houseplant bits in them. I've heard that like not that long ago they found some, and I'm like, it's like regulation that like came into being for the patent medicines did its job, and these unregulated supplements, we need some of that. But anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
nature abhors a vacuum.
So the summer of geek continues. We've been having lots of, new TV shows and movies and stuff that are just really great for us fantasy nerds. What has been your favorite? Or alternatively, just tell me about something that you've enjoyed this summer. Starting with Allie.
Oh, thanks. Put me on the spot. All right.
I could start somewhere else.
Well,
I know, I'm
it's
good.
it's a good one. Like, just think of any, because the favorite I always freeze. I'm like, I don't know. I've never
yeah.
watched anything in my life.
So I've been watching House of the Dragon. I've been enjoying that. But I'm also like at least a Game of Thrones book fan. And that time period's one that I really kind of been wanting to see. So House of the Dragon's been kind of what I've been doing. I also funnily enough watched the first season of an Isekai recently. Mushoku Tensei, I believe it's called.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
It's kind of the godfather of the genre in some sense.
In some sense. It's not the first one, but
a
lot of the really familiar tropes from like the really lazy ones definitely came from this, because it like the main character is literally like wakes up as a newborn in the fantasy world, and the first like 5 episodes he's still like 5 years old or something about that point. And it's a lot. It's a lot, but it takes its time without, in my mind, being too slow with it, because you do get to see this progress. He's dealing with like lingering trauma from his life in the real world, or the whatever you want to call it. He's learning lessons about being less of a massive perv, some less successfully than others.
Yep.
But he is still a massive perv.
So that's one to check out. How about you? How about you, Chris?
I recommend it.
Yeah, I've seen some of it too. It's pretty solid, with a lot of the Japan weirdness.
Yeah, it does have a lot of that.
Yeah. How about you, Chris? What have you been enjoying recently?
Well, I'm going to give you 2 answers, as I often do in these situations. The new thing that I enjoyed this summer from a geek perspective would have to have been Umbrella Academy. I think season 4, if I'm not mistaken. It could be 3. I don't remember now. Whatever the most recent season of Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, I think it's 3, but yeah, I think it's 3. It's been going for a while, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
So that's the new one. And the old one is sort of near and dear to my heart. And I've just had occasion to begin a rewatch of it, lengthy rewatch of it. And that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Hey. How is it holding up for you?
I mean, it's schlocky, but it's still quality television. So, I'm
fun.
About a third of the way into season 2 at this point.
I think season 2 had some pretty high points.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. Very cool. How about you, Rhiannon?
I don't watch geek TV anymore, is the thing. I'm like, what have I been watching that's geeky? I mean, I'm stalled out through about 3/4 of the first episode of Rings of Power, which isn't anything against it. My brain is not there. My brain needs to be in like just soothing reality TV or trashy reality TV.
Hey, this is a safe space. We do not judge. We definitely do not judge in the pregame hangout.
When my internet was out and I couldn't be at the hangout, Yang was texting me that somebody was talking about the reality show that I'd been talking about. I was like, duh! The courtship, the one that's the Regency era fakey. Well, maybe Yang just made it up. Anyway, that was a ways back. And in the way of those shows, I looked up the couple, because the couple got together at the end. I looked them up. I was like, even more so than usual, the Bachelor Bachelorette kind of thing. And yeah, they lasted like 2 months.
Yep. That's often how that goes.
Yeah.
But at least they admitted it. I was not shocked, because it was bachelorette model where she was choosing. And I mean, I hate to be like she chose like she was in her early 20s, but she was in her early 20s, and like she would continually, one of the guys would be like, I don't know if I can like settle down, and she's like, well, we really love each other, so I just thought that maybe he could settle down for me. And I was very like, okay, sweetie, he said he can't settle down for you. And you know what? On the TV screen, I believed him. And I think you should have too, because you could have saved yourself some grief. But so I don't usually watch the Bachelor, Bachelorette sort of ones. I'm thinking of, I watch cooking competitions and home renovation competitions and ones like that. So, and when I watch the Critical Role animation.
Oh yeah,
because
Legend
it was
of Vox
there.
Machina. How'd you like that?
I mean, I
don't
feel
cast
like
shade on a competitor.
Yeah, right.
I know that was a ridiculous thing for me to say.
What am I supposed to say? Tell you after the stream, man.
I will say that I find that show is the most legitimate expression of an actual D&D game that I've seen on television in a long time, in two very specific ways. One, the characters never do what the DM thinks or expects or wants them to do. And two, they're just wise asses about it the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's very true to the D&D experience. Like if somebody's coming up to you and saying, hey, what's D&D like? You should show them this show, because I feel like it's a good encapsulation of what real good D&D is like.
I mean, depending,
obviously. Like tastes are different and games run differently all over the place. I mean, Vox Machina is not like our game exactly.
Yeah.
You know? So
I was just thinking, the D&D games that I had in college, there was a lot of sex in them, but not a lot of like crude jokes, which I don't want to be like, oh, highbrow, lowbrow, like I'm judging your humor. But I feel like they hit a particular sort of like kind of humor that I tend to try to find games that are not that kind of humor, just from my personal taste. So.
Gotcha. No, I completely understand. Vox Machina is quite crude at various times. Which, I mean, is probably part of the appeal.
Well, I did get a little sense that I don't now, not having watched the original actual play that went into the cartoon, but just watching the cartoon, I got the sense that it was a little bit sort of in your face to like sort of peel off the people who had certain expectations about either A, a cartoon, or B, sort of fantasy dragons and, you know, goblins and whatever. And then the people left were the people who would enjoy the like rest of the plot. So the crude jokes were kind of like a screening question, kind of, I felt like.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I think
because the US is so weird about animation. And there's also the sort of like not only animation, but the sort of like Disney princess and dragon kind of fantasy that and maybe they were just sort of like transcribing what was in the actual play. But I did get the sense that and I was very like, you know, I watch anime, like I don't need this screening question. I'm with you. Like I'm here for the emotionally mature themes.
All right, I wanted to get to Randy. Randy, what's making you happy this summer?
It's making me happy this summer.
Yeah, like things that you're watching. We can expand it to books if you like.
Oh yeah, well,
whatever you want to talk about.
I joined
man.
a smutty book club where we were reading fantasy, but it was so far the choices have been mostly really kind of very light on the smut and heavy on the romance kind of stuff. But
they're easing you into it.
Yeah. Trying to think what pops into my head that I've watched. I like, you know, with all the Star Treks. Discovery, Strange New Worlds was awesome. most of it.
What are you thinking about Lower Decks?
I take it in doses. For some reason,
doesn't work for you.
Yeah, no, it works for me. It's just not something that engages me for long periods of time. Like it's
not like a bingeable series.
It's a sweet. It's not a something I want to eat regularly. And then Motherland on Hulu is really awesome. It's about witches. It's an alternate history US where witches are real and causes all kinds of a slight change in the way our nation forms. And then there's League of Our Own, I mentioned last week, was awesome.
Oh yeah, I need to get to that.
I've watched it all the way through like twice in a row. And then like Queer Eye, I love that. Makes me what else?
Do you do Only Murders in the Building?
I started and I haven't gone back to it yet.
Okay.
But I don't know.
They are heavy on the embarrassment squig. If you're somebody
that might be part of it. Although sometimes I like that stuff. But sometimes I'm just not there.
Yeah, anything with like super cringe humor, like my partner Alicia can't even watch it because she just gets secondhand embarrassment so bad that she just like leaves the room.
Yeah, that's why I watch Only Murders in the Building like all at once.
Yeah.
Because if you watch it in pretty quick succession, the amount of time you spend like embarrassed is a small amount compared to like following the plot. And it also helps me to be like, well, it doesn't matter that he put his foot in his mouth because here we have another clue. And when I'm like watching it too slow, it's like, oh, he put his foot in his mouth, so now we lost our best lead. I mean, now what? Now not only am I embarrassed, but the embarrassment has like stopped us from going forward on the mystery.
Yeah.
So
Our Flag Means Death.
That's good.
Excellent. And Evil. I don't know if you watched Evil. I just started watching that. Highly recommend it.
Check that out. I've heard good things.
Yeah. Those are all shows that I've enjoyed and stuff that I enjoyed.
Sweet.
She-Hulk's a lot of fun. I saw someone mention that in the chat.
She-Hulk has been a lot of fun.
People were dissing on Hawkeye, but I loved Hawkeye. I watched it like a couple of times.
Yeah, that was fun. It didn't super stand out to me as far as MCU series go, but I still enjoyed it a lot. I know
started it. I need to get back to that.
Yeah.
Loki. Yay, Loki.
Loki was great. Loki was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I read a thing about how to make it work, they did have to sort of change the character of Loki a little bit, and then that's why the ending was a little sort of and so to make him a protagonist, they had to make some aspects of his character different than you do for a villain. And that was really interesting for me reading about that, and I totally agreed. And I like watching protagonist Loki, but they shouldn't have given protagonist Loki villain Loki's ending.
Yeah, it was a little strange because the Loki that they pulled is the Loki from 2012 who hasn't had the opportunity to go through all of that character development and growth. So it's like, oh, suddenly he's going to start becoming a good guy for what reason? Like, I don't want to spoil anything about the series if people haven't seen it, but it's definitely great and you should check it out.
Yeah, I feel like they handled it interestingly. I'm sure I've seen people debating over whether they handled it well or not, but I like the way they handled it. It was kind of an interesting.
Oh, I mean, I enjoyed it as well. They just kind of set themselves a significant writing problem, and then whether they resolved it to your satisfaction may vary.
Yeah, and plus I think they could have done more interesting things with gender, but at least like they kind of tried.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, if you met a really hot version of yourself who was another never mind. I don't want to spoil it. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
Well, we're at our 5 minutes. So.
Yep, we're at our 5 minutes. So our pregame hangout is over and the game is imminent. So we're going to take a little break. An ad. Don't go away. And we're going to have some good gaming for you in just a minute.